Before Genghis Khan, natalism was a key foundation of the world's three major religions, in which all of humanity sprung from one man. Adam's rib begat Eve, their union begat Cain, Abel and Seth, and so forth. A key Bible verse that guides Judeo-Christian identity and beliefs is the Genesis passage. And God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." The creation mandate has been fluid for many couples and denominations, but in general has enshrined the pursuit of children with a spouse as an important directive, and sometimes not even with your spouse. Remember how Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham. Sarah gifted the enslaved Hagar to Abe so he could fulfill God's destiny of being the father of many nations. Hagar had no choice in the matter and even got treated like shit by Sarah when she got jealous, but let's not turn this into Sunday school. The point stands, natalism is embedded in the major world religions. Having a child and indoctrinating them into the religion and raising them within the faith keeps the faith and religion alive. Begat, repeat, begat, repeat. When fused with the biological pull to procreate and the importance of humans in the economy as consumers, manufacturers, and even raw materials, it's clear natalism, or the advocation of a high birth rate, is a dominant theme in society. We wouldn't have child tax credits if it wasn't true. But how does natalism intertwine with power and rape culture in our secular society? For men in power, having a bunch of children happens under a few umbrellas, sometimes overlapping, and definitely not always because of religious or political convictions. The first category is, of course, men with poor dick management. Raw sex with everybody, no thoughts about vasectomies, trusting their partner to not be ovulating, whatever. And in Iyanla Fix My Life special on OWN, the life coach spoke with 5 black men with 87 children among 50 women, including a producer named Jay Williams, a man with 34 kids by 17 women. He refused to get a vasectomy and insisted that he used condoms, which brings up a point that I be wondering, like, you know how we always learn about squeezing the tip of the condom as you roll it on? A lot of people didn't learn about that in sex ed, so I'm wondering how many people think busted condoms all the time is normal because they didn't know they were supposed to squeeze the tip. But anyways, we not turning this into sex ed either. Back to Jay Williams. Said one of his daughters on appearing on the show, "It felt like seeing a ghost. I hadn't had any contact with my father in over a year, and I was not at all pleased to be in his presence. I just cannot seem to wrap my head around my father knowing exactly how to reach me and where to find me all of this time, but was only willing to talk to me when there was a camera around." So these types of fathers who just be having kids all willy-nilly and they don't even offer financial support, let alone emotional support, that's its own little special category. By the way, roughly 5% of marriage-age men have vasectomies. While 14.1% of white men get them, only 3.7% of black and 4.5% of Latino men get them. In the black community, totalistic beliefs that children are a blessing and abortion is black genocide collide with our recent past, where children were laborers, babysitters, and income generators. But there's another sinister component. As I pointed out, with people not knowing to squeeze the air out of the tip of a condom, there's a lack of sex education as well as a link to sexual and/or physical abuse. The rapper NBA Youngboy has 10 to 12 kids with 7 to 9 women. DMX had 15 kids with 9 women. Think about Chief Keef, who was 17 when he impregnated a 42-year-old woman who birthed his second child. He now has 9 kids with 4 women, and that woman was dead ass wrong and she need to be in jail. All 3 of those men grew up in unstable homes with young parents and/or abuse. Per a 2008 report for the National Library of Medicine, men who experienced multiple partner fertility were more likely than men who had children with only one mother to be older at the interview date and to be black, and they were less likely to be born to married parents or to live with 2 biological or adoptive parents at age 14 than other fathers. Men who fathered children with multiple women had, on average, more siblings, were more likely to have a mother who was a teen at her first birth and had their first sexual experience and and their first birth at a much younger age than did other fathers. In fact, more than 1/3 of men who experience multiple partner fertility had their first birth before age 20, 36%, compared with 11% of other fathers. So we need sex ed at home, sex ed in the schools. All right. The second category includes abusive men who engage in reproductive coercion or sabotage to maintain control over their partners. This is still an understudied topic, but anecdotally speaking, myself, friends, and family have been victims of removed condoms or late withdrawals. A man I was dating while attending Ohio State who was anti-abortion once took off the condom during sex without my knowledge or consent. He could have destroyed my life. Yeah. You. I'm talking about you. The third category of men are narcissists. Their sperm is a gift to anybody they choose to bestow it upon. Reminiscent of John Stamos in the 2011 Law & Order SVU episode.
Ken's my boy's dad.
Cute, detective, real cute. So now, I guess you expect me to wilt, right?
Ken, what's going on?
Well, this is the NYPD's vain attempt at embarrassing me. To make you all realize how many of you there are.
You son of a bitch. You said I was your one and only. Clown said he'd marry me.
And me.
Jenny, you said little Leslie's the best thing that ever happened to you.
And you said we were going to be a family. Now I'm a single mom. I had to drop out of med school.
Well, my child's more important than med school.
Real life, Nick Cannon has recently disclosed a narcissistic personality diagnosis, which may be the cause of why he's having all these damn kids. Having so many children is not just an ego boost for Nick Cannon, but a guarantee of his continued legacy, with some suggesting it's related to fears of his mortality while suffering from lupus. Over in the Netherlands, Jonathan Jacob Meyer was banned from donating sperm because he fathered over 100 children through 11 clinics. He continued to donate through other channels, eventually fathering at least 550 kids that we know of. While Meyer claimed that donating was kind because of his family's good medical history, his actions can have ripple effects on the Netherlands population because of the potential of incest among all of the offspring who don't know each other. In 2023, Meyer was ordered by a Dutch court to stop and is subject to a $100,000 fine for each infraction. While sperm banks were commercialized in the 1970s, have we examined the long-term effects in repeat donors? Have they impacted the gene pool or dating pools? Reported the New York Times in 2019, there are hundreds of biological half-sibling groups that number more than 20, according to the Donor Sibling Registry, where siblings can find one another using their donor number. Groups larger than 100, the registry reports, are far from rare. From the beginning of this practice until the mid-2010s, sperm donors were anonymous, remarked a sperm bank executive in 1984. After all, what guy who's been paid $25 for his sperm, which is what we pay, wants to take the chance of being confronted 20 years later by 1 or 3 children, each claiming he is their biological father and each wanting love or a loan or something? But DNA and ancestry testing and other advances have ended cryobank guarantees of privacy. And there's no limit in the US to the amount of times a man can donate sperm. So if there's a guy out here with a dick out in the wind thinking, I'm a great guy, I'm perfect, I'm amazing, everybody should be like me, everybody should have my sperm, he can do it. Who's gonna stop him? Ari Nagel, a math professor nicknamed the Sperminator, has taken advantage of this, fathering at least 165 children as of 2024, and from what I can find, mostly with black women, please God. Some of the women were inseminated by the married man the old-fashioned way, including a lesbian whose partner held her hand while she had sex with a man for the first time. So this guy is fucking weird. And not only does he maintain contact with a bunch of the kids, but he also refuses child support for many of them. And Nagel, who is Jewish and grew up in an Orthodox upstate New York community, took his penis to Israel, but was outlawed from donating after spreading his seed at 6 different sperm banks.
You know what? I think I would say that I do love them. Even the ones that sue me for child support, I feel like I really do love them. I hope they know that.
Y'all keep an eye out on him. Remember I said that. Let's stick a pin in him. What motivates prolific sperm donors? Is it the desire to demonstrate sexual virility and attractiveness to the opposite sex, affirming your masculinity? Is it attention or something more? Nagel said, "I just love seeing how happy the moms and kids are. That's why I do this. It's the gift that keeps on giving." Meyer also defends his actions and insists that donating his good biological matter is altruism. And this brings us to a mutation of category 3, the eugenicists and religious zealots who believe that their sperm can transform the gene pool. In America, where white people will no longer be the majority by 2050, the low total fertility rate of white women in comparison to other races has long been a cause of concern, leading to eugenics programs we've discussed in these videos. But how has this transformed in the modern era? Telegram founder Pavel Durov claims to have fathered over 100 children with in vitro fertilization and wants to open source his DNA because it's so special. By the way, Telegram is infamous for being a platform that shields child abusers and rapists, and it's popular in Russia, the Ukraine, and former Soviet Union nations. Here in the States, the immigrant Elon Musk has at least 11 to 12 children with at least 3 different women, including the artist Grimes. He came by it honestly, with his father Errol having 7 children with 3 women, and he's compared humans to breeding horses. By the way, Papa Errol had 2 of those children with a former stepdaughter. Not only is Elon Musk a fan of Genghis Khan, but he has regularly espoused his natalist views that population collapse is the second biggest danger to civilization after AI. I guess he's changed his views on artificial intelligence like a bunch of other shit because he's a supervillain, but he actually is firm on natalism. In June of 2024, he posted that it should be considered a national emergency to have kids.